Hello boys and girls, it's Miss Carolyn here again on Wednesday's Adventures, and this time we're looking at things right in our backyards, and what a better place than the Discovery Space right here in State College, Center County. Now, it might not be as close to your backyard as some of the other boys and girls, but it is a really neat place to come and investigate, and there's a new exhibit that we're going to show you today that just opened for all the boys and girls to come and learn more about marine life. Let's find out more. Boys and girls, we're inside the Discovery Space here in State College, and we're actually behind us is the regular exhibit, but we're walking down kind of a new hallway that just opened. In fact, you boys and girls are going to be some of the first to be able to see and explore. Look what we're looking at today. We're going to be looking at marine life and all the wonderful life that exists in the waters. And joining me right now is a new marine educator, life educator, and it's Devin Hennigan from Discovery Space. Thanks so much, Devin, for joining us.
Of course, come on in.
All right, let's go.
All right, so come on in. What we've got here is our 100-gallon saltwater tank, and it's broken up into two different sections. We've got the central tower area, and this fills up with water and then overflows down into the outer ring. So we kind of get a 2-for-1 deal with this tank. We've actually got a special treat for us right over here with one of our chocolate chip sea stars. So right now what you're seeing is actually the underside of the sea star. And these little pink things that are moving around here are the tube feet of the sea star. They'll have a couple hundred of them along each of the arms, and these are very important for the sea stars as they help it survive by moving around and also grabbing their food.
Devin, this place is really cool already. I'm investigating this beautiful piece of equipment that is really, it's good for kids and it's interactive too.
Oh yeah, so we'll have kids for the perfect height. They can come around and see all the way around our tank. So if we actually go around this way, you can see one of our 2 banded coral shrimp hanging out on that rock there. That's his favorite rock.
That's his favorite rock. Do you name the animal, the species that live in here, other than just their animal name?
We haven't given all of them a name. I've named one of the sea stars. I think it's actually the guy we just saw with his 2 feet up. His name is Chonkers because he's the biggest one and he eats the most food.
Well, I'm looking at this guy and he's moving quite a bit around. What does he have on him and what is he colored? He's beautiful.
So the banded coral shrimp is a combination of red and white stripes. This helps him blend in with coral reefs. And our 2 shrimps are very important for our tanks because they actually help keep our fish nice and healthy. They will eat any parasites or dead skin or scales off of our fish, so they help keep them clean. Then we actually have a molting of one of our shrimps that just happened the other day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
so you can capture that once he's done with that skin, huh?
Yep. So the important thing to know is that this guy isn't actually dead. He is hanging out in the central tower over here. This is just his exoskeleton. Kind of like how you would need to take your clothes off as you grow up. You don't keep the same baby clothes that you were wearing when you were younger. You have to change them out and get bigger ones. Same thing with our shrimp. Once they get too big for their exoskeleton, they have to shed it, and then they'll be soft for a small period of time, so they'll go and hide until their next exoskeleton hardens up and can protect them.
Is that almost like the cicadas that some people have heard and seen this summer?
That is exactly the same thing. Both these shrimp and cicadas are actually related to one another distantly.
We're continuing around our really cool exhibit here, and this is the drain. That's an important part of what we're doing here, right?
Oh yeah, we can talk a little bit more about the drain in a minute. Right now I want to get some of our photogenic fish right here. So one of them, the one that just swam away, is our clownfish. So she might be a little bit different from the one that everybody knows and loves, who is Nemo.
Right.
She is a black, white, and yellow color versus Nemo, who's black, white, and orange.
That is cool.
And then the other fish that we saw, actually this guy right here.
Okay.
This is a lemon damsel fish. And we've got two of them in our tank, one in the central tower and one in the lower ring. Also up in the middle here, we've got two Pajama Cardinals.
Pajama Cardinals?
Pajama Cardinals, it's a fun name.
Is that right over here?
Yep, so they have the yellow face, red eyes, but the most distinguishing part about them is their polka dotted tail.
Oh, polka dotted tail. Okay, I'm trying to find them. There they are. I don't know if boys and girls you can see. I'm going to try to get close. Let's see. All right, I think I've captured him on camera.
So we can see the yellow face, the red eyes, and then the polka dotted tail.
Yes, how cool. All right, Devin, what are we looking at here?
This is one of our Scarlet Reef Hermit crabs. So a lot of people wonder how hermit crabs get their shells. And they actually find empty seashells out in the ocean. And very similar to the banded coral shrimp, once the crab outgrows its shell, it needs to go and find a bigger one. And there's a couple of events that happen out in the ocean every couple of months where you'll have hundreds of hermit crabs all lined up, one behind another, and they're all moving forward a couple of shells to find a bigger one.
Cool.
It's basically cheap real estate.
Yes. What suggestion do you have for boys and girls to have any of these as pets? Is that good or bad?
I would say that you definitely want to start off with a smaller freshwater tank before you start moving on to saltwater tanks. Saltwater tanks are very pretty, but they're also a lot more delicate and can be very expensive as well. So you want to make sure that you can take care of something before you jump to this.
And make sure it's in the right environment, right? The right habitat, the right home.
A lot of people will ask what kind of salt we put into our tank. It's not the regular table salt. We actually have a special mixture of different salts that can be found out in the ocean that help support our marine life.
All right, Devin, we're going to take a break and just ask you about you and this wonderful career you've chosen, I guess. Why are you involved in all this, and what all have you done to get ready for this job?
Oh my goodness. So my journey probably started back when I was very young. My mother is a very big fan of saying that I want to grow up to be a dolphin trainer, which was true. So I've always loved the ocean. I grew up in New Hampshire, so I had the nice mix of forest, mountains, and the beach. And I would say my freshman year of high school, I did a trip down to North Carolina to do some volunteer work with different marine organizations, and I just fell in love with it. Then my summer between my sophomore and junior year, I did a sea semester program where I went and studied marine science out on Appledore Island in the Gulf of Maine, and then spent a week and a half sailing on a boat out in the Atlantic Ocean, which was fantastic. And I came back and I just knew that's what I wanted to do. I loved every single minute of learning about our oceans. Then I went and got my bachelor's degree in marine science with a focus in biology from Eckerd College down in St. Petersburg, Florida. I spent 2 years working in an aquarium before I went and got my master's degree in fisheries sciences from the Graduate School of Oceanography in the University of Rhode Island. And then a few months later, I came and started working here.
Wow, so you're really doing what you love.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's fantastic. I love the education. I love the marine science. And being able to work here at the Discovery Space and bring a little slice of the ocean to central Pennsylvania is a dream come true.
Some more interesting parts about this part of our display here in the Marine Science Center is this interesting light, I guess. It plays a role too, right?
It does. So this light is very important for our tank. It helps make some of the colors of our fish stand out more. But more importantly, we have these Zenia Corals down here that were donated to us, and it's helping them grow. So corals actually have a type of algae growing inside of them that needs special light in order to grow and produce food that the coral can also benefit from in a symbiotic relationship. So this light has all the different colors of the rainbow to make sure that we are giving the coral as much light as it needs.
That is amazing. I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's great. So Devin, we're looking at a different part. It looks like you're working hard at work as a scientist over in this section. Walk us through what you have here.
So we have some of our Zenia corals that we also have in our tank over here. We can see them waving about. And then an important part for any scientist is also being able to use different equipment to examine things either close up or far away. Right here we actually have some of our Zenia coral polyps underneath our microscope here, and we have it projected onto the screen.
Oh my gosh, so boys and girls, we're gonna look at them first in the cup. And Devin carefully brought them down to be able to examine without hurting them, of course. And then he's got it hooked up with our modern technology. Look how big they are. Tell us what we're looking at and how important is it to look at them this up close and personal?
So it's very important for us to look at them so close because we can examine each individual polyp. So a coral polyp kind of looks like the end of your arm. You've got the stalk, that's your forearm, and then the tentacles are going to be the hands and fingers waving around.
Okay.
So the polyps are going to, looks like they're starting to open up.
Oh my goodness.
Becoming less shy. And we'll see them waving around if we give them enough time in there. Yeah.
So you're looking to see if they're healthy, they're growing the right way,
Yep.
they're getting that light they need, and
We want to make sure that they're getting bigger, see if there's any more developing stalks coming out so we know that the polyps are being healthy and can reproduce. So corals are actually a colonial animal, meaning that there are several individuals of the same species all living together. So each individual polyp is its own animal, and then all of them living together creates the coral, which is actually a colonial animal. So it's all of the same species living together in the same place.
that's kind of like what we should do, right? Live together very cooperatively.
Exactly, yeah.
So part of your exhibit is changing. It's living, just like the animals that you're showing us today. And this is also part of it. Boys and girls and adults can donate things, and you kind of look at them and then you use them maybe?
Yeah, so everything that we have on this shelf has been donated to us from different specimens preserved in jars that were caught as bycatch. So even though they did pass on, we are still able to learn from them. Now, other things such as the carapaces of a horseshoe crab or even shells from different snails.
Okay, I stopped Devin here because I wanted to know what he called, I used to call those ugly things on the beach, but they're important, right? They're what's left when the horseshoe crab decides to grow another one?
Yep, so this is the carapace or the exoskeleton, just like when we saw our shrimps earlier. And the horseshoe crab is actually one of my favorite marine species because they are known as a living fossil. They've been around for millions and millions of years, even since before the dinosaurs.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're still around today, and evolutionarily speaking, they haven't changed that much. They've just gotten a little bit smaller.
Is that because of us being kind of a part of their lives at times?
It might have had an influence on it, but it's also just how evolution works. Things will change, and maybe it's changing for the better, maybe it's just changing because it needs to. The environment is constantly changing, and the best way to adapt is to change with the environment. So some other artifacts that we have of the marine world are different shells from snails. We've also got some examples of echinoderms, which is a phylum of animals, meaning that they're all related to each other. And these echinoderms stand for spiny skin. So you can especially see it on the remaining spines of these sea urchins there. So those are going to help protect the urchins, sea stars, and sand dollars from predators who are trying to eat them. Because just like how you might not want to eat spiky food, predators also don't want those spikes sticking in their mouth.
Boys and girls, isn't that smart of those animals? That's how they protect themselves. That's wonderful.
And so we saw our Zenia coral, which were a type of soft coral, meaning that they don't leave behind a hardened rock-like exoskeleton. But these down here are stony corals, so we can actually see the remains of a coral that's passed on. You can see that there are lots of different kinds. Some are branching, some are mounding. There's also brain corals. There are so many different types.
And back to the big picture here, you can see how we're all part of this wonderful marine center. It's all right here, boys and girls. Okay, I think I've got a shot of at least a little piece of him. This is one of your favorites, Devin?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That is the fire goby. He's being a little shy right now, though.
And so sometimes they come out and sometimes they stay behind, but it's all important to come back and visit.
Oh yeah, so you never know when he's going to come out, so make sure you come and see us a couple of times and hopefully you'll catch him.
Well, unfortunately, our time has come to an end, boys and girls, but you can come back and visit Devin and all of his wonderful marine life creatures that he shared with us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll come back, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Look forward to seeing you again. Bye, everyone.